Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Nice at 1:30. Seem to be hovering around. I'd be lying if I told you what I think it's going to do in the next week. It's just, I mean, when it went down to what, 121, 119 a few days ago, really wasn't quite sure why. Then it was shot back up to about 130. There's definitely some weird things going on in the background, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm just still looking for really good deals, hunting the ICOs I like, and just it's a glorious time to make a lot of money when you're talking about, like, I don't know, there's some people who are like, man, I'm never going to day trade, or I'm never going to hold long term. I always got to trade. You know, people have pick sides. It's like, I don't know. I always look at it like, I always like hover over both situations, and I just pluck the quality from both sides. And as much as I hate saying terms like day trading and all that, because you think of something when you say that, right? It's been abused. The word has been abused. So I just saw it making moves. And what I like to do is really, I'll give you the game. I'll spit you some game. Like, I have some lures set at 15 for Neo, and I have some sells at 22. So I've just been binking that left and right. I have sales at 20, 21, 22, and I have buys at 15, 16, 17. And I have just been letting it ping pong automatically for me. And I've just made so much money doing that. It's really easy, because you can kind of understand, especially with the last 2 weeks, that there was not going to be any really good news for Neo to make it pop. However, Neo still has all of its intrinsic value, and it's not going to just, it always pop. It'll go real low, and then you'll have a buy rush. And then the buy rush always creates people who who FOMO. It's quite interesting. When people see a coin going up slightly, they'll just buy into it. And that's kind of what happens. Neo will sink and sink and sink, and then the whales will come on, right? And whenever you buy a large amount, it's going to cause a little increase in price, so it's going to stop the bleeding, and people are going to see, oh, wow, people are buying now. And then you're going to have the other people join in, and it's basically going to create this nice little ebb and flow. Lots of money to be made doing that. I can tell you a little story about when I first started. I didn't start with much. And I got into my Bitcoin, and I remember I was playing poker, and I was doing weight loss coaching, and I was writing. I was doing everything I could to make some money. And I was like, man, I need to get into this, because this is the next big thing. Like, I saw right away what it was. I didn't look at it as some coin. I saw it as like the future of the internet, the evolution of humanity when it comes to peer-to-peer, like not needing a banking system, like revolutionary shit. And in doing this, man, I didn't get into Bitcoin and just get surprised when the Chinese government does some crazy shit. Like, when any government, like I said, when I get into an investment, I always look at the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is all governments ban it. But can it be stopped? No. And once I realized that it couldn't be stopped, that's the key. It's forever lasting value. People who want to say it's worthless or it's not backed by anything or whatever, we all know, anyone experienced knows in Bitcoin that it costs money to make a Bitcoin, and it's backed by mathematics, right? Those are two very good things. They're like the laws of humanity. You can't, it costs money and it's backed by mathematics. It doesn't get much better than that. And the fact that it can't be destroyed, people don't place a big emphasis on that. You can destroy dollars. You can't destroy Bitcoins. Like, well, I mean, in the sense that you can't stop it. Like, the government can't stop someone sending one Bitcoin to another human across the planet. And in order to stop it, it would, like, there's really just no way. Like, they're finding out ways to do it without internet. Just some crazy next level shit. It's like some Egyptian science shit. Like, this is absolutely astonishing. Once you realize what Bitcoin is, you're like, well, hell yeah, man. It's always going to be worth more than $4,000. Like $4,000 is nothing. If we're talking 10 years from now, so what's going to happen 10 years from now? And Bitcoin's still around because it's always going to be around. You can't stop it. What's the price going to be? I mean, I don't know. Like, you think it's going to be more than 4,000? Like by then, every damn human's going to know exactly what Bitcoin is. Like most of them will, at least, like, a lot more than they do now. So it's just, and I know that it's going to swing violently. That's for sure. It's going to swing back and forth, up and down all the time. I was just prepared for that. And I know there's a lot of money to be made. So leading that into when I first started, I got into Bitcoin. And of course, I've always talked about this. Once you get your first Bitcoin or your first little bit of Bitcoin, you're sitting on it and then you're looking around, you're doing your research. And I was doing my research and I was noticing, man, you know, these people are making a lot of money on these other coins. I was like, what are they? Because I remember I had passed up Ethereum because I didn't quite know what Bitcoin was. And I was just so grinding on poker. Like I was so one-tracked on poker to become the ultimate best poker player in the world that I didn't even really stop to look at it. And that was a shame, but it is what it is. And I remember seeing Ethereum and I was just thinking like, oh man, what? It's like another Bitcoin? I was like, what is this fucking, now there's already two big, you know, like I was already thinking, I was so ignorant. And yeah, so when I first got into it, finally, when you put your money on the line, you do the research really quick. And I realized that, man, there's a lot of money going on in these altcoins. So I quickly did all my research. I found out about Steam. I got my account on Steam and I was doing all of that. And then I realized I was doing my research and I was like, man, what's Golos? And, and it's the Russian Steemit. And Steemit had just started to pop at this point. Like it was starting to get popular. And I was like, man, Russian Steemit? I was like, dude, this thing's going to pop. Because I found it and it was free. It was like so cheap. It was around my birthday, a little bit before my birthday. And oh yeah, I can't even do 3 years. Yeah, it was right around this time. I got it real early and it was just really, really cheap. It was around 2 cents. And I was like, man, this is going to really, really pop. And literally the next day, it fucking just went 7. It went to, I ended up selling over for 8. So what I do is I created this because I was like, man, I wish this giant stupid thing wasn't here. But anyway, it started off so high. I bought some Golos and I was like, man, I don't want to sell it all. I don't want to sell all my Golos. I'm probably saying the name wrong too, but I don't want to sell it all because I think it's going to have long-term value much higher than 2 cents. Or I think I was getting it for like 1.5 cents because that's when I had, all right, so when I first got into Golos, it was amazing because I was trading it because the sell orders and the buy orders were so far apart that I was literally buying it for X price and selling it for X price at the same time. So it was just like boom, boom, boom. And I was making micro Bitcoin. I was like, dun, dun, dun. And then I realized that, man, this thing is really going to blow. And I don't want to sell all of it because I think I can cut myself. So that's when I created my nest egg. And I was like, I'm going to keep 60% locked away and I'm going to play with 40. I ended up selling 40 up here, right? And then I bought some back down here and then boom, it really went fucking high. And that's when I made my first little come up. And I had still had my nest egg and I had ended up selling it down the road because I saw, you know, I just moved on to, I saw that there was going to be, because when you first start out, nest eggs are cool, but it's also kind of about wanting to build some capital because if you only have a little bit of money, you're not going to want to nest egg it because what's a nest egg if it's too little? You know, I can understand. So I kind of leapfrogged coins after a while and just really bought where there was great value. I didn't really know about passive income coins at the time. Passive income coins at the time. If I had, I would have focused on them. And then that's when that was born. And then I moved on to XD and I hopped on the digital note because it was just so cheap. And of course, you already know where I got it, guys. I got it a little bit late in May for nothing. No, I got it for so cheap. The Satoshi wise, it was ridiculous. Where are we at? Yeah, it was like, I got it for under 10. So this is when I created lures because I got into it and I was like, man, I'm not going to pay sticker price because I had gotten pretty familiarized with the Golos trading. And I was like, I want to buy it for cheaper. And I noticed people dumped because in Golos, you got to think. And I was thinking this. I was like, man, this is like steaming. So like some Russian mom just made a blog post and wants to pay a light bill or wants to pay the rent. You know, they went viral. She's not going to want to sell it. Like she's just going to place buy and dump. And that's when I first started understanding dumps and how humans played into this trading game. And I was like, whoa, I started to be mind blown. I was like, man, this is fucking easy. Like, you know, I play poker. This is like a bunch of Russian moms dumping for rent money. And I was just killing it. And then I saw Digital Note and I had created my channel, my YouTube channel, and I had the Golos boom was on there. Like that was my first thing. And then holler at Kevin. He's one of I know there's some others. I'm sorry if I forget your names. But this was when I had like 60 subscribers or nothing when the Golos boom happened. And I believe he threw a little bit of money up in there and made some. So I had like, you know, I started having a little crowd around me like, hey man, this guy was right about Golos. And then, you know, just kind of seeing what's up there, just looking at me. It's like, oh, who's this weird guy? He just came out of nowhere. He said something about Russian statement, and then it blew up the next day. Like, who is this guy? How do you know? And then out of nowhere, I get on Digital Note, and I say, hey, I'm going to buy some Digital Note. And I started, this was the very first, when I was like business developer. I even hate using that term, whatever the fuck you want to call me. I just came in a Digital Note, and I was like, all right, this is the cheap unknown coin. And I went into the dev team, and I was like, all right, man, I got to help this coin out any way I can. Cause I bought, you know, I went all in. I bought pretty much all I had. And I also had some other stuff, but, I basically went up in there and I was like, all right, guys, what's going on? What can I do? And they added me as lead marketer and I was there and I was just promoting it. I was doing all I possibly can. And then this happened, guys. I just, and I had my 60-30. I remember I didn't sell here because I was like, man, there's only 6 million supply. And plus this is the first time I actually invested myself in a coin. I was like, man, I put so much time into this. Like, I'm not going to just sell right here. And then I just sold all the way up here. I ended up going 50-50 on it because I was like, this is crazy high. And I kept a 50 nest egg. But let me tell you what happened. The bad thing was they were going to run like an ICCO. There's an extra C in that bitch. And that's not good because that C means cunt because it fucked everyone over because these people wanted to lock up the coin. All right, so basically the coin's on the market, right? But they wanted all the holders to lock up the coin and have an ICO with it at like 5x current price on the market for bulk orders. And I was like, that's ass backwards because you know my background. I'm not going to say what I used to do, but I know numbers. And I was like, well, normally when you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper. And that's in all aspects of life. And they didn't want to pay attention to that. Hey, I'm not hating on nobody. I'm just saying what it is. And I was like, all right, well, this is a train wreck. That's what I was saying to myself. I was like, this is a train wreck. I got on my YouTube channel. I was like, I am officially out of Digital Note. I sold everything. And I told them why. I was like, I didn't agree with what was going on because I knew I was going to be a train wreck, right? Who the fuck? Why? It didn't even make sense. So I sold everything way up here, way at the tippy top. I gave my holla and then it fucking just went down to oblivion. But hey, I came up real good. If they didn't do the ICCO, I still believe that Obsidian may not even have been created, or, you know, just because like Digital Note would have been so popular by then, maybe it would have deterred them. I'm not going to say that. But the point is, these guys had the market for private messaging and they let other apps like Obsidian come into play. So that's what happened there. So then after that, I started doing, what was the third one? I can't even remember. But I started hopping. That's what it is. So basically, you can see the evolution. I just started hopping. And then, of course, the next coin, No Limit Coin. Derp. How the fuck did I... How did I forget about No Limit Coin? That's absurd. All right. Well, anyway. All right. So the story of No Limit Coin. You already know where I got it, guys. Where did I get No Limit Coin, guys? Okay. So I got No Limit Coin way yonder for about right here in this... just barely double-digit Satoshi. I never told anyone officially what I got my No Limit Coin for, but I'll tell you it was in the barely double-digit. And this was the coin where I took everything I learned from XDM, and I went in and I was like, we're going to do this. I saw that the website needed to be revamped. They didn't have a Slack group at all. No Slack group on No Limit Coin. Nothing. And I just came in, me and Raphael, I talked to him, we clicked immediately, and we just fucking went gangbusters. And I just pushed as hard as I could. And to see, this is what happened. See, I would have still been around with XDN. It's like, if Raphael out of nowhere just said some crazy shit like, we're going to charge 15% rake. And I can't even, Raphael couldn't even really do anything, to be honest with you. Like, he'd have to do like something really personal, crazy. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, XDN did something so crazy that I was like, I can't, this is a train wreck about to fall off the cliff, right? But with this, of course I stuck around because, dude, I was like, man, this is, if this thing gets to where I envision it, it's just going to be absolutely amazing. And of course I got it down here and we just had all kinds of ups and downs and crazies. And we just had all kinds of stuff. Right now is the real quiet before the storm. You know, 4K BTC. I understand. There's people who got in and all kinds of things. Like, I understand people are watching my journey and they don't want to go back to the beginning and watch it. They want to, because they'll treat just like one little episode as like the whole story. And there's a lot that goes into it. So it's hard for me because like I always try to give a little bit of wisdom because I understand the concept. Like I reverse engineer it when people buy up here. That's not my style. Not very, 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 very rarely, maybe a 0.001% chance I'm doing that. But I know how to reverse engineer it and I know how to say, hey, look, this is the perspective. This is what I would do. God knows I don't give advice. I don't like giving advice. Advice is terrible. You don't get paid for it and you don't really get praised when it goes good. But if it goes bad, they're always at your doorstep. So I don't fucking give advice. But this is what I would do in those situations. And it's just like hold and do the best you can to bring as much value to that coin. That's the only people don't want to hear that. I understand. But that's the only answer. There is no other answer you're going to get from me. I'm never going to say sell for a loss. I'm never going to say panic sell. I'm never going to say have a negative attitude. I'm never going to say sulk. I'm never going to say anything like that. I'm always going to say, hey, if the boat has a hole in it, you plug it up with your shoelaces, with your shirt, whatever you got, right? You paint over it. We get the water out. We dry it out. And we make it float and nice and pretty, right? Like I'm never going to, there's no situation where I panic. I'm always in there. It's like, hey, we're just going to fix this thing up. There's a lot going on about No Limit Coin. I don't need to say what's going on. There's the updated roadmap on the website. And then of course from No Limit Coin, there was the Great Basic Attention Token crash, which happened in July. I was getting it for 28, 25 Satoshi, and it had peaked way up here at like over 7. And that doesn't seem like as big, but at the time, Basic Attention Token was considered quote unquote liquid for me. And what that means is you can dump and not hurt the market, not hurt your investment, right? So at the time it was liquid and I could just take these big chomps because see, the Basic Attention Token for me, people don't understand. It's not as, I can only do so much to so many businesses, right? I can only pull so many XDNs, so many no limit coins on coins, right? Like it's that this became when I became it's hard to say what made me the most money because no limit coin of course made me a lot of money, but I'm saying in all the others, but this probably was where I made a real big portion of my money. As you can see, all right, what professional trader? If there's any professional traders, excuse me, I have to go get some water. I just want you to look at Basic Attention Token for a second and ask yourself where I'm making money. Where did I make the money? And I was doing this live. I was showing people the dumps from Basic Attention Token, and people were seeing me getting it for 2,800 and immediately selling it for 5-6K. And I did that like a hawk. This was my job. When people say, "Oh, I trade," no, this is what I did. I lived and breathed Basic Attention Token all July into August. I made so much money doing that. That was a savage, and this was one of the biggest come ups. In disguise, because you wouldn't see it because it's not all the way up, right? Because I don't need that. I can make wealth any kind of, you give me any kind of angle and I'm going to make wealth, right? So I came in, got it for the low, bink, sold it all. And I knew I could sell it all. That was the thing. I took home run swings. I sold it all and I bought it all and I sold it all and I bought it all because I knew in July that nothing was going to pop. And I had to focus on 1 or 2 coins. Sia coin was the other. I made a killing off of it in that time because it was up and down too, but nothing was greater than basic attention token. This one was just so lovely. Now I just said, all right. And then after a while, I discarded everything. I was like, this is where it's at. And I would stop everything I was doing. And if basic attention token was liquid for me, meaning if I could dump it, like I could kill the market now, but I'm just saying, like, if I need it, like I'm thinking maybe EOS might be something like that in the future. I don't know. But I'm just saying this was a once in a lifetime thing in my life when this happened. And I just rode it. I just rode it like a perfect surfer. And it was just like low, boom, low, boom, low, boom. Every time, overnight, low, boom. I would wake up and I was like, holy shit, this is like stealing. This was amazing. And people want to say, where did the Batman heads come from? Where do you think I got the Batman heads? Yeah, they don't look perfect like Batman heads, but you can see, like, this looks kind of like a Batman head, does it not? And this looks kind of like a Batman head, does it not? Like, I was telling people, Batman heads, lures, boom, 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 all July. Go to my July videos. Look it up. You can see it for yourself. And it was just a magical month because at the end of it, it was just so much to be made. And then, of course, I had jumped into all the new ICOs, my business development. This is the biggest poker day of the year, actually. I'm going to be playing for millions and millions of dollars today in poker. Poker Stars, it's the World Championship of Online Poker. And the 2 main events that I'm going to play are today. So it'd be nice to get some extra love, some Batman love, some Batman head love. Just to hope, you know, this is, I'm not going to do videos on Saturday anymore. I don't believe. I just think it's good to have one day where people can just kind of catch up because there's a lot of content I give out. And then by the time you're learning Batman heads and lures, I go on to something else. You're just like, holy shit, what's going on? So I think maybe like Saturday would be like a good regroup day where people can kind of just go over old content, right? Because who wants to watch fucking 2 videos a day and in the same day? Like, I know there's some people who love that, and I appreciate that. But a lot of people are like, man, you just heard the motherfucker for 20 minutes. So I need to listen to another 20 minutes. So I think one day would be good where people are like, let me go listen to one of them old videos he's talking about. You know, Throwback Saturday or whatever you want to call it. All right, I'm going to kill it here. Cheers. Peace.